Child support is a pretty big concern for many people going through divorce. It can have a significant impact on your budget after the divorce. Hi, I'm Max Ruthenberg-Marshall, attorney and founder of Porchlight. Today we're going to be answering the question, how much child support will I get in my divorce? And the answer, unfortunately, is it depends. Before we go into the calculations on that, let's give a little overview of child support. First, child support goes from the non-custodial parent to the custodial parent. So it's not based on the gender of the parents, and it's not, in that case, based on who makes more income. It's based on who has the children the majority of the time. So if a parent only has every other weekend, they're going to be paying the other parent child support. Now, 50-50 schedules are becoming more and more common, so who's the non-custodial parent in that situation? In that case, the court defines the higher income earner as the non-custodial parent. That might not seem fair that you're paying child support even though you have the kids half the time, but we're going to talk in a little bit about how the court addresses that. In Georgia, child support goes through age 18 or when the child graduates high school, whichever is later. There is no support obligation for college. So what's the number? That's what you're probably wondering. Well, Georgia uses an online child support calculator to figure out what the child support obligation will be. This is a public calculator, so that sounds like it'd be pretty straightforward. You just go in and enter the numbers. But of course, the output is only as good as the input. So there is a lot of disagreement over what numbers should go in the calculator and exactly how much those numbers should be calculated as in a particular case. Believe it or not, people have a lot of disagreements over what their income is when it comes to calculating child support. But let's dive into an example. This is an example of a completed Georgia child support calculator, and I'm going to walk through the main steps so you understand how they work. First, the court wants to know what each party's monthly income is. So that's what's represented in this line up here. In this scenario, we're saying parent A earns $2,000 per month. Parent B earns $8,000 a month. So the court looks at that $2,000 and $8,000 and says, okay, together you guys earn $10,000 a month. That means that parent A is responsible for 20% of the total combined income that comes in, and parent B is responsible for 80%. The court has a table that shows what they believe the legislature in their wisdom has decided that this is what people earning this amount total between the two parents would spend on their kids. So in the case of parents who earn $10,000, the court says those parents will spend $1,259 on their kids per month. Now, that is divided proportionally between the parents. Even though parent B is the non-custodial parent in this case, they're not going to be paying that whole $1,259. So parent B is going to be paying 80% of $1,259 because they earn 80% of the total income of $10,000. That means that parent B is going to be paying $1,007.20. But the court recognizes that there are a lot of other factors that contribute to how much it costs to raise a child. Some of those main factors are health insurance and childcare. So in this example, we've also added in some childcare. In this situation, we're going to say that parent B spends $200 per month on the child's health insurance. So, okay, both parents are technically responsible for ensuring that the child has health insurance. So again, we're going to look at our percentages up here, 20 and 80%, and we're going to see that parent A would be responsible for $40 of that $200 child support amount, and parent B would be responsible for $160. So those numbers get added to the parent's child support obligations. So in this case, we have the $1,007 plus the $160 to give us $1,167. Now, parent B is responsible for $160 of the child support, but parent B actually pays more than that. Parent B pays $200. So parent B gets a credit for the amount of child support that they pay. So the court has determined, or the calculator has determined, that $1,167 is parent B's obligation once you add together the basic obligation and health insurance. But since parent B pays $200, we subtract that $200 from the $1,167 to get $96.20. So $96.20 is parent B's child support obligation, The court rounds it so people aren't paying ridiculous numbers with decimal points to their spouse, and parent B's obligation in this case is $967. So that example is a pretty basic child support case. There weren't a lot of factors involved, but there are a lot of things that can change the amount of child support. There are a whole list of deviations that the court can give. So that can include a low income deviation if the parent paying child support has low income. It can include a travel deviation if it's a long distance parenting plan and one parent is going to incur travel expenses. It can include deviations for vision and dental insurance. It can also include other factors such as extraordinary educational or medical expenses for your children. One of the most common deviations is a parenting time deviation. So that comes up generally in 50-50 cases, but it can come up in any case where there's more than the traditional every other weekend schedule. But generally it's in 50-50 cases where the parent who earns more income thinks, hey, it's not fair that I pay the same amount of child support as a parent who only has their kids in their care every other weekend. And the court recognizes that. So the court is able to give a parenting time deviation. Now, unfortunately, there are not any guidelines on how much the parenting time deviation should be. Different attorneys have different ways that they like to essentially calculate it, but it is really just a best estimate of what they think that the court would be likely to do given the entire facts of the situation. However, it can be pretty significant. And if the parties' incomes are similar to each other, it's possible that in a 50-50 schedule, neither party will be paying child support to the other. If you and your spouse are resolving your case out of court by agreement, you can agree to whatever child support number you want. So the worksheet might say one thing, but there might be factors that typically don't go into the worksheet that you and your spouse want to take into consideration. So you can agree to any number that works best for your family. For help negotiating parenting time and child support, give Porchlight a call. We're here to make the process easier for you.